So I want to pivot from that to a question that I posed to you in the rundown, which is the player that you're most excited to see against Missouri State. Who do you most want to see on the football field on Saturday night?
Yeah, I think I'm taking the easy way out here, but I'm just still fascinated by it. I mean, Anton Harrison starting at left tackle is a true freshman. I think he's a guy with a ton of ability. And obviously, I think everyone kind of expected going into the camp that it was going to be Eric Swenson and Stacey Wilkins' job to battle for. But that being said, I kind of want to backtrack a little bit because I think last year the left tackle spot was probably the biggest weak link in the offense of 2019. And that's not a slight at anyone. I always felt like R.J. Proctor is a really good player, but I felt like he was more of a guard. And then I felt like Eric Swenson, he had the opportunity to be pretty solid, but I always felt like he was more of a right tackle. I didn't know if he was really up to the blind side kind of things. And then both players were sort of forced to play that position. Well, I feel like Anton Harrison is actually a guy who can slide into left tackle and be comfortable. I mean, he already has the size, already running, 6'5", 330 plus, good wingspan, good broad shoulders. I mean, he's got the body type to really man that position. And Stacey Wilkins is probably the other guy that could give him a real run for his money. I just think this is an opportunity to give Eric Swenson a more proper positional fit. I think it's an opportunity to kind of let Stacey Wilkins know that nothing is given, it's all earned. And then I think if Anton Harrison is really what he's all about, we're going to get to see a little bit of that this weekend against Missouri State. Yeah, again, it's not the highest competition level, but for this guy, a true freshman, this is his first glimpse at big boy football. So this is actually a very key and pivotal learning experience for him. And I think we're all going to get to observe that, analyze it. And on the other end, we're going to really see what Oklahoma has at left tackle spot and get a greater sense of how he's going to handle that KSU matchup coming up very shortly afterwards.
I don't care who plays left tackle. I just want to see the left tackle play because, like you, I'm going, okay, you move a guard over to left tackle because Eric Swenson's getting his butt kicked. Like, he got destroyed by an FCS defensive end at South Dakota. Now, that kid was All-American, but still, he got absolutely manhandled. And that's the only weak link on this offensive line. Everybody else is a returning starter, and everybody else projects to the NFL. You move Swenson over to back up Adrian Ely, and now you're talking about starting a true freshman at left tackle, which means that if that happens, Anton Harrison starts tomorrow night, he becomes just the third true freshman offensive tackle in the history of school to get that job. The others being Drew Samia in 2015 against Akron, and then Wade Miller. I wrote this down. I wrote about this on OUinsider.com, but it was 1946. That's a That's a Jim Tatum squad. Went 8-3, finished number 14 in the country, got a Gator Bowl win against North Carolina State, and of course we know that 2015 team won the conference championship, made it to the playoff, got beat by Clemson. So, like, either Anton Harrison is that good and that talented coming out of National Christian Academy, or OU is up a creek, man. Like, this should have been, for me, this should have been Stacey Wilkins' job. Like, all the buzz about him last year, all the buzz about him being the dude that picked OU over Arkansas. He's from close by. I always wanted to see Bray Walker out there, but apparently Bill Bedenbaugh wants to have him at guard, and he's backing up left guard. He might be able to flex out next year. Who knows? And I see Andrew Rame is also on that 2 deep, which is also pretty cool. But, like, if you got to start a true freshman at left tackle, I've never thought of that as a good thing. And I've never thought of a dude being that talented. I mean, for perspective here, even Trent Williams didn't start as a true freshman. He started as a redshirt freshman. So, like, either Anton Harrison really is that good or Oklahoma really is that screwed. And I don't know that we're going to find out the answer to that question against Missouri State for obvious reasons, but against K-State, where they know how to manipulate their defense, where they know how to force you into making mistakes, where they understand that they can beat you after what they did last year. Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about that offensive line, but the dude that I absolutely want to see play the most is Marcus Major. That's another guy that came to Oklahoma with a tremendous level of hype. And from whom I've been talking to folks inside the program, is that guy, right? He's going to be that good. He just needs to get his opportunities. And I see no better opportunity than the one he has right now. Ramondre Stevenson is out. So you're talking about TJ Pledger being the starter, and then you're talking about Seth McGowan. One of those guys is going to have that Trey Sermon role of closer. And if it's not Marcus Major, I have questions, right? If it's Seth McGowan, great, but I have questions if it's not Marcus Major. And anytime somebody compares you to Adrian Peterson, they're doing you a disservice, but that's what it is for him, right? And he's got the weight of this state on his shoulders, right? In the same way that Creed Humphrey and Pat Fields have the weight of the state, and that they are the captains of this 2020 team. In a year in which it just sucks to be a college football player, right? Compared to any other year. You have Tulsa and Shawnee captaining your teams, and you have a potential breakout star coming out of Millwood, Oklahoma City, the Falcons standing up at tailback. Like, I want to see him play, and I want to see just how many run attempts Lincoln Riley's willing to give these guys at a time when everybody's hoping to see Spencer Rattler spin it. He might not actually get to spin it until Big 12 play just because they might be able to maul people. So what do you think about Marcus Major being that dude that I want to see the most?
I think you're right on here, and I think obviously we've talked about him in podcasts past. This dude has had so much hype within the state of Oklahoma. Then he arrives on campus and suffers that unfortunate injury. And from my perspective, I've always kind of mentioned, okay, the guy has all the talent in the world, but that we still haven't seen him play big boy football very much. And we still have yet to see how well he recovered from that injury a season ago. So this is a very big opportunity for Major to kind of update us on where he's at from both a physical and mental standpoint. So I agree 100%. Major, this game probably means a lot more to him than maybe some of those other running backs. Obviously, Seth McGowan is going to probably get some run as that true freshman that they're going to need from a depth perspective. But Major will get out there and have to essentially prove himself. And so I'm excited to see what he can provide. If all of the hype is true, then maybe the losses of Kennedy Brooks and Trey Sermon aren't as bad as some might perceive. But still, I mean, we just got to figure out where this guy is right now in his football career. And I think Saturday is going to provide that exact type of update.
Man, I'm hoping, right? I want to see everybody on the depth chart play. And then I want to see everybody on the 3 and 4 deep play. I really want to see everybody get an opportunity to play in this game. One, because they deserve this opportunity after what they have been through just in 2020. But two, because you're really going to have to be able to ask guys to do a number of different things just because the COVID positives are not going away. You're going to have them. Oklahoma is put in a drop dead period of maybe we won't be able to play a football game of Fridays where they have to be able to tell the Big 12, we have 53 players eligible to play, so we're going to play at a time when I'm certain we're not going to see all of the team play tomorrow. And a lot of those dudes would probably be guys that we would expect to get some run, whether it be special teams or in garbage time, just because of COVID stuff. So I'm interested to see which one of those guys it is, because this is just a wild year to try to put together a competitive football team.